Hey everyone, welcome back to the Home of Thoughts. I know I missed posting last week. I had to take a little break because of exams. So many notes, so little time. But now I'm back and we've got a bunch of amazing stories to catch up on, from exciting science to world events and fun facts. Let's jump right into this week's news. One thought at a time. This week, Israel launched a major military attack on Iran using missiles, drones, and airstrikes. They hit over 100 different places, including military bases, research labs, and nuclear sites. Their goal? To stop Iran from making dangerous weapons and send a message about security. Iran was very angry and responded by launching missiles and drones towards Israel. People in cities like Tel Aviv and Jerusalem heard loud sirens and had to go into bomb shelters. Some of the drones were shot down by air defense systems. So far, both countries are being very careful, but the world is worried the situation might get worse. Why are Israel and Iran fighting? Israel and Iran have not been friends for a long time. In fact, they haven't had good relations since the 1970s. Here's a quick timeline. In the past, Iran and Israel were not enemies. They even worked together on some projects. But after Iran had a big revolution in 1979, a new government took over that didn't support Israel anymore. Since then, Iran has said it doesn't believe Israel should exist, and Israel sees Iran as a threat, especially because of Iran's nuclear program. Iran also supports groups like Hezbollah and Hamas, which have fought against Israel. Over the years, both sides have spied on each other, fought through smaller groups, and even carried out cyber attacks. So, while there hasn't been a full war between the two countries, tensions have stayed very high for decades. Why does Israel worry about Iran's nuclear program? Israel says it's building nuclear technology to make electricity and help with medicine. But Israel and many other countries, such as the US, worry Iran might be secretly trying to build nuclear weapons, which are extremely powerful and dangerous. Israel believes that if Iran ever gets a nuclear bomb, it could be used against them. That's one of the big reasons why Israel carried out these recent strikes, to stop or slow down any nuclear plans Iran might have. Many other countries, like the United States, France, and the United Kingdom, are asking both sides to stay calm and avoid war. Some airlines have stopped flying over the area because it's too risky. The United Nations is also trying to help. People around the world hope that this fight doesn't go into something bigger and more dangerous. Most want peace, safety, and honest talks instead of fighting. This is a serious situation because it could affect many countries, not just Israel and Iran, but the entire Middle East. It shows how long-term problems between nations can suddenly become dangerous. It also reminds us why peace, communication, and cooperation are so important, not just in politics, but in everyday life too. A terrible accident happened this week in Ahmedabad in India, when an Air India plane crashed just seconds after taking off for London Gatwick Airport. The plane lost control shortly after leaving the runway and crashed into a medical college hostel near the airport. Sadly, 270 people lost their lives, including almost everyone on the plane and several people on the ground. The crash caused a huge fire and damaged nearby buildings, making the scene even more dangerous for rescue workers. However, one man named Vishwash Kumar Ramesh was the only survivor. From seat 11A, he managed to escape through an emergency door and is now recovering. Investigators are looking closely at what went wrong. They're checking if problems with the engine, wing flaps, or takeoff systems caused the crash. It's a very sad moment, and many people around the world are sending thoughts and support to the families affected. Now it's time for our question of the week. This week, should festivals be allowed in public parks? Some people love music, food, and fun in parks, while others worry about noise, crowds, and litter. Tell us what you think in the comments, and don't forget to explain why you feel that way. We'll share the best answers in our next video. This week, big protests took place in Los Angeles after US immigration agents, known as ICE, or ICE for short, started arresting hundreds of people in a surprise operation. The raids focused on workplaces and neighborhoods, and many families were frightened. In response, thousands of people marched through the city to protest against the arrests. Some protesters even walked onto the 101 freeway, causing traffic to stop. Most of the protests were peaceful, with people holding signs and chanting for immigration rights. But in a few areas, things turned tense. One patrol car was set on fire, and the police used tear gas and flashbang grenades to control the crowd. To deal with this, President Trump sent the National Guard and 700 US Marines to the city. This made state leaders like Governor Gavin Newsom and Mayor Karen Bass very upset. They said the military should not be used to handle protests, especially when people are trying to speak up peacefully. So far, police have made nearly 400 arrests, and a nighttime curfew has been put in place to keep things calm. The protests have also inspired similar marches in other cities across the country, as people demand fair treatment for all communities and a more peaceful solution to immigration issues. This week, there's big news about the BBC World Service, which is the part of the BBC, or British Broadcasting, that shares news in many languages across the world. The UK government might cut £70 million from its funding. That's a lot of money, and it could mean fewer news programmes, closed radio stations, and fewer stories reaching people in different countries. Lots of grown-ups, including members of parliament, are worried this will make it harder to fight fake news. The World Service helps people everywhere learn what's really happening, so many are hoping the government will change its mind. So now we've done the big stories, it's time for the smaller ones. Jonathan, a giant tortoise from St. Helena, celebrated his 193rd birthday in early June, making him the oldest known land animal on the planet. A four-legged robot called Spirit is being tested on Earth, rocky areas and caves to help Lanza learn how to explore places like the Moon and Mars more safely. On June 3rd, 2 tornadoes touched down just outside Kansas City in Missouri. It knocked over trees and a truck but caused no major damage. Emergency teams responded fast to help drivers and clean up. The new Nintendo Switch 2 launched June 5th and sold over 3.5 million units worldwide in just 4 days, making it the fastest selling gaming console ever. It has a bigger screen, 4K docked output, new Game Chat features, and sold nearly 1.1 million units in the US alone. And finally, scientists in Hawaii found ocean fungi that can break down plastic like polyurethane. Over 60% of the samples showed plastic-eating ability, which might help clean up polluted seas in the future. And that's a wrap for this week's news. We learned a lot, from giant tortoises to space robot dogs, and even talked about some serious world events. Don't forget to answer our question of the week in the comments. Should festivals be allowed in public parks? I can't wait to hear your thoughts. Make sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss a story. See you next week with more amazing news, fun facts, and big ideas just for curious kids like you. Bye for now.